Hello everyone and welcome to the latest episode of Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark. And today I have a Sunday summary for you, just summarizing what's been going on in the last week with regards to reading. So this past week I've actually only finished two books, and they were quite small books, both by Jerome of Three Men in a Boat fame. One of the books I finished was this one here, The Observations of Henry, and it's just kind of a collection of short stories where the narrator, supposedly, I guess, Jerome himself, is chatting with a waiter called Henry or Henri, and they're just little stories about how Henry has kind of helped people in the past with their problems due to love and that kind of stuff. It's quite a sweet little book. I enjoyed it. The stories are quite nice, and some of them were, of course, very funny. So it was a nice kind of light-hearted read. And the second one that I finished as well is also by Jerome, and it's a Diary of a Pilgrimage. And this is written towards the end of the 19th century, and Jerome and his friend B decide to go on a trip from London to Oberammergau in Germany to watch the Passion plays that take place there. And this is really just a very humorous travelogue filled with observations and things like that, and of course funny situations that they encounter on their trip. Apparently the Passion plays there are still going on, so it's still a big thing. At the time of the book, I think they take place only every 10 years or so, though I'm not sure if that's the same now or whether they are a yearly event. I did see the last couple had been cancelled because of for obvious reasons, so that's why I wasn't sure, as I say, if it's meant to be yearly or if it's every couple of years or not. But I suppose I could look that up, but I just didn't yet. Yeah, it's very funny. Of course, it's a bit of its time, so there's a lot of stereotypes and generalizations when it comes to national characteristics and things like that. But it was still well worth a read. So what I'm currently reading still is Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey. Still enjoying it, but as I say, it's kind of taken a small backseat to the other things that I was reading. So it's Jane Austen July, but I suppose in my particular case as well, it might also be rechristened as Jerome in July or something like that, because the other book I'm reading as part of a group read along, we've got about 16 participants, and that is Jerome's classic Three Men in a Boat. And I must say I'm enjoying rereading it again, and it does seem that the overall impression from the group is also positive, so I'm very happy about that. We're reading 2 chapters a day, so we've currently read from chapters 1 to chapter 6, and so from all things from losing toothbrushes in the luggage, to adventures with smelly cheeses, to putting up a picture with Uncle Podger, and to getting lost in Hampton Court Maze, I think we've all had a very good laugh so far. Last night, reading chapter 6, it did take me to one of my favourite lines in any book ever, which is that of Harris asked me if I'd ever been in the maze at Hampton Court. As I said, this is one of my favourite lines ever, because you know, if you've read it or you know the book, that it's the start of an extremely funny piece of writing. I was very tempted to read it to you now, but I thought I'd spare you that, and instead, or at least for the time being, and instead encourage you to pick up a copy of this book and read it for yourself. It's not very big. It's only about 19 chapters and anywhere from 150 to 180 pages, I suppose, depending on your edition, unless you have a really old one where the writings are much bigger and there's more illustrations and things like that. But I would definitely encourage you to read it if you want something to brighten up your day. And what amazes me is just how modern it is, considering it's written in the late 1880s, and he's quite prophetic in a few things as well, and it's just great that it's still so very funny to this day. The other thing I'd like to mention is the hashtag Reading Europe 2021 challenge that we did. I did it with around 25 other fantastic participants. That challenge, of course, finished last weekend with the final football match of Euro 2020 between Italy and England. And of course, anyone who has any interest in that will know by now what happened. Italy won, beating England on penalties. And as much as in my heart I desired an England victory, I can't deny that Italy were indeed the better team and deserved winners. So congratulations to Heather at Soggy Expat Book Nerd, because she drew Italy from the very beginning. And so, yeah, her team won. I suppose you could look at it as a downside, because her team won and they won every match in the tournament. She didn't actually have to read, she only had to read one book really, but luckily for the rest of us, she decided to so-called break the rules, even though it weren't really any rules that she had to break. She could have done what she wanted, and she read books by the teams that Italy beat. So my thanks also really go to the 25 participants who made this a wonderful reading experience, as well as just great fun overall. I'm sure as many of you who are watching who took part in this feel that we've made a few friends out of it as well. I've gathered most of our reading into a list which can be viewed by following the Google Drive link at the bottom of this video in the description. And between us, we've read over 80 books, and that averages at just over 3 books per person for that challenge. Of course, some did read more than others because they may have lost more times or had more time, but I'm not going to say who read the most or who read the least and that kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, it's all a bit of fun and doesn't matter. The list might not be fully complete. I've tried to add everything that people have sent me, and if there's anything wrong with it, please let me know, and I will surely endeavor to update it as soon as possible. So that's my little Sunday summary, and I'm going to leave it there for now. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and see you all soon. Bye bye.
Better, better, better.